Alright, I got the old filter off, still got the drain plug out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the new filter on, and I'm going to put the drain plug back in. And that's going to finish up our out with the old segment and move us into in with the new. Old filter to the new box for proper disposal later. You take a little bit of oil and you spread it around that rubber seal before you put your new filter on. And what this does, when you go to tighten this filter on there and seat it, that little layer of oil helps to seal off, to completely seal shut the oil filter to the casing. So it helps prevent any leaks, helps to make sure it works properly. So, once I put a little bit of new oil on there, I can see, I don't know if the camera can get it, but you can actually see the filter casing right there, little thread. You can see the threads. That's exactly where I need to line up this filter. Give you a second to get that shot. There it is. You see her on there? So I'm going to take the filter, line up the center to those threads, and just start screwing to the right. There we go. Feel them catch, they start sliding on there. Now another thing that my dad taught me was that once you feel it catch, once it stops sliding on naturally itself, you want to try to turn the filter about 3/4 of a full turn to tighten it up properly. So to do that, I'm going to start using a little force, using these clearly oversized muscles that God gave me. I'm going to tighten it up to about 3/4 of a turn, which is about right there. And our new filter is installed. Once the new filter is installed, the last step before we can add our new oil is to put our drain plug back in. Now you can probably figure out what would happen if we put new oil in the car and left our oil pan drain plug out. All the new oil we pour would go straight through the engine and out the pan. It'd be a complete waste. So you can't forget the step of putting the drain plug back in. It's important, to say the least. And you'll always give it a little tightening of torque with your ratchet. It doesn't have to be a super lot, but you go to the right and you want to make sure that it's on there tight. You can probably tell why I wanted this aftermarket undershroud. If you can imagine having to take this entire piece, this entire undershroud off with all these 10mm bolts, what a pain in the ass that is, or was, because I used to do that. I went ahead and was happy to spend the 100, maybe 150, I think it might have been, for this aluminum undershroud. It just makes doing this job so much easier. These are our little Allen screws. These also do not have to be super tight, they just have to fit snug. Okay, we are now fully finished getting rid of the old oil in the car. All I'm going to do now is slide my pan full of dirty oil out, clean up under here a little bit, and then it'll be time for in with the new. Alright, so we're finished with out with the old. We've got the old filter off, the new filter on. We've got all of the old dirty oil drained out and put into our oil pan right here. Now it's time to add the new oil. To do that, we lift up the hood, we expose the Japanese beast within, or something to that effect, and we take a look for the opening for oil. Now on most all cars, it's going to be somewhere visible and accessible right up front. Here on the Z car, you can see it right here. Most all cars have this little oil symbol on the front, like a little oil lamp, I guess it is what's to show you where the oil goes. I went ahead and loosened it up already because a lot of times they're really tight and I've got to use some extra force to do it. So to save time, I went ahead and loosened it up. But you simply turn it to the left, pop it off, set it to the side, and you're ready to add your new oil. To finish focusing on changing oil, you need your funnel and your new oil. Want to be careful whenever I pour the new oil to not spill any. Go straight into the funnel. This car holds 5 1/8 quarts, so I'm going to dump this entire 5-quart bottle in, and then find a little more to put in there after that. Try to keep this clean as well. And if there's any dirt surrounding the oil cap at all, I like to wipe it off. It looks to be, in this case, pretty clean. You can see everything looks pretty clean. If you're driving in the summertime and it's been really hot or dusty, a lot of times the engine will be a lot of that will get in the engine. And whenever you've got that oil cap off, you want to be careful to make sure no dirt gets in there. So now we've got the new oil added to the car. The only step left is to fire it up, test it out, make sure it's running well. We'll leave it idling for just a little bit to make sure we've done a good job.
I'm gonna check the dipstick.
Taylor says, are you not gonna check the dipstick? It's a good idea to check the dipstick. I know exactly how much I put in there. I know exactly how much it needs. But if we were gonna check the dipstick, if we just wanted to double check, this is how you would do it in a Z car. It's right up front, says engine oil in yellow. So, take the dipstick out, wipe it off, bring it back out, and take a look at where your oil line is on here. You can see it, mine is resting right between the low and the high, about 2/3 of the way up on there, which tells me it's perfect. Let's fire it up and test it out. This is actually my favorite part. That is the sound of success. All right, thank you very much for taking the time to change your oil in the Z car with me today. I've taken you through every step that you need to be able to change the oil in a Z car, or really any other car for that matter. All the principles are the same. The last thing I'm going to do is dispose of my old oil by putting it into the empty oil jug, take it to AutoZone, they'll recycle it or dispose of it for you, and then you're finished.